compliments I can get. Come on, Mac, hurry up. I'm dying for a peek.
You should learn the value of anticipation, lass.
There's a wee duck in Doris, just a wee drop, that's all. There's a wee duck in Doris, before we gang aboard. There's a wee wifey waiting in a wee button bend.
Hello, is my husband in there?
There's a wee duck in Doris, before we gang aboard. There's a wee wifey waiting in a wee button bend. If you can say it's a public moonlit night, you're all right, you can.
You look fabulous. Turn around, I want to see if you're demonstrate.
This is one drafty castle, you know that?
Would you like to borrow some pantyhose?
Would you like the back of me hand?
You look great.
Is my sporran right? It's supposed to be hanging in the center.
Oh, the little purse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put a little lipstick in there. For me.
You know, I think Bobby prefers me as a Scotsman.
Keep your knees together, darling. I know what Bobby doesn't like. Did you see the way he was barking at Ramsey? And I've seen him barking like crazy at Duncan the gamekeeper.
Oh, Sally, stop waiting for Bobby to solve my uncle's murder. Dogs bark. They also wag their tails. I've seen him do both at Duncan and at Ramsey, among others.
You decent?
Come on in, Mildred.
You call that decent? Go put some pants on.
We've been through that already, Mildred. What's up?
What time is this shindig?
In an hour, and it's not a shindig. It's the traditional turning over of the castle to the new laird, Jamie.
Well, the Great Hall is filling with Scotsmen, and Mrs. McTaggart is already passing out the booze.
And what are you doing up here?
Aren't you amusing?
Tut.
Mrs. McT has never heard of drink coasters. By the time Jamie moves in, there are going to be rings all over that good furniture.
Oh, all that good mahogany. Those old-time lairds should have put their armor on their tabletops instead of on their warriors. You'll work it out, Mildred.
Yeah, well, don't say I didn't warn you.
Sally. Would you find Enright and meet me up in the tower?
Darling, what about the ceremony?
Oh, this time.
Mac?
Huh?
There's something that I've always wanted to know.
What?
What does a Scotsman wear under his kilt?
Later.
Mac?
Sir? Guests are arriving.
Just solved a crime. A crime that happened 300 years ago. Fergus McCready. And you put me onto it, Sally.
Of course I did.
Mm-hmm. Let's go back 300 years. Remember the legend. The McMILLAN walled up Fergus McCready because he'd found him hiding in the castle the night before a battle. Figured him out to be a coward.
But he was really a thief.
Fergus came back to the castle, dug up the treasure, reburied it someplace else. The secret died in the wall with him. That's why the treasure disappeared.
I put you on to all of that?
Sure. Remember the other day when you wondered why anybody would need a trivet to protect a marble tabletop?
You weren't even there.
Oh, well, I showed it to him. I know you said it wasn't logical, but it seemed logical to me, so I...
The missing piece from Fergus's armor.
Well, how did that get in here?
Uncle Michael. Sometime in the last years, remember the new mortar? Uncle Michael found Fergus. Understood what this meant. Used it as a trivet so he could keep it around.
But why?
Fergus scratched the location of the treasure on it.
Well, why wouldn't Uncle Michael just dig up the treasure?
Well, Jamie, I would think. You can't get rid of a castle in a day, but you certainly can a treasure. And Jamie, being the spendthrift that he was, Uncle Michael wanted to wait and make sure that Jamie was mature enough.
Mac, this doesn't look like the map to a treasure. It says BQ3.
That doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't it?
Mm-mm.
Follow me. When we were down here before, it occurred to me that this floor looks like a chessboard.
Chess? I still don't get it.
Well, Sergeant, each chess square has a name, so you can write the game down. For example, BQ3 would be Black's Queen's third.
Only problem is there are more squares down here than there are on a chessboard. And furthermore, I can't tell which wall's black. Now, our digger has already done some testing. I'll bet we can catch him here red-handed tonight.
Suppose he doesn't dig tonight.
That's his last chance. Jamie moves in tomorrow. Besides, he already learned that he can be heard upstairs.
Tonight there'll be a dance band and pipers.
Fire a cannon down here, it'd never be heard upstairs. So, Enright, you and I'll have to wait for him.
Mac, you can't.
Why not?
You're a big part of the ceremony tonight.
I can handle the surveillance, sir. Well, it's dark down here. I have the advantage of surprise. Besides, it's too damp down here for skirts.
All right, Joe. But be careful. Remember, one of those people upstairs is a murderer.
Good night, Sergeant.
Good night. What a way to spend an evening.
Lovely this evening. Captain Morris. Good evening, Miss Day. What a grand party.
Mac, you wear the tartan very well.
Thank you.
Oh, he just puts it on and lets it sell itself.
Now.
Want to dance?
Yes, let's.
Oh, I should warn you about the castle tradition. Never a first dance under this roof between a husband and wife.
Far be it for me to go against the castle tradition. Excuse me.
She just made that up. Would you care for a fling?
Beg pardon?
Would you care for a fling?
Oh, you don't fling to this music, only the pipes. But I'd be honored to lead you in a foxtrot. George Macduff.
Sally McMILLAN. Lead on, Macduff. You know what they say about he who cries enough. You've heard that before.
Many times. Many, many times.
I see Nell is stuck with some big clock.
Isn't he your husband?
So you're right. I never recognize him when he's dancing with someone else.
Thank you very much, Mrs.
Oh,
McMillan.
you're very welcome.
May I fetch you something to wet your whistle?
Oh, that'd be nice.
I'll be right back. Meet me by the black wall.
Mrs. McTaggart. Mrs. McTaggart, is there a black wall anywhere about? They all look sort of beige to me.
The black wall, you said? That's not color. It's from chess. The north wall.
Well, what makes the north wall black?
The McMILLAN who built this place was a hound for chess. Wouldn't he play with the morning sun in his eyes? And always played white. So the south wall of every room is known as the white wall.
Does that mean that the north wall of the keep would...
Wrong, missus. Too many squares for chess in that chamber. It's across from the keep. That's the old chess room.
Thank you, Mrs. McTaggart. You've been very helpful. Man. Man. Wait, man!
Quiet, Miss! You cannot interrupt the ceremony!
I'm sorry.
Try a bit of the salmon, lad.
Maybe later, Mrs. McTaggart. Thank you. Sergeant. Sergeant. Sergeant Enright. Charlie? Charlie, it's me, Mrs. McMillan. It's okay, it's me. You're looking in the wrong room. It's across the hall. Sergeant, it's the room across the hall, and the north wall is the black wall.
Thanks to the missus, I know where to dig.
Sorry, Sergeant.
I'll take that. Come on. It's rightfully mine. Hey, McCready died for it. I wrote the clue to find it. Aye, I'm a McCready. I thank you to turn round, Sergeant.
The scepter of the McMILLAN, strong and straight. All here bear witness that you accept it willingly, with all encumbrances thereto. The last man who carried it with great honor. I wish it and the family name the same good fortune in your hands.
Those present are bound to inform all those in their ken in these mountains that Jamie McMillan is the true and only possessor of all properties, honors, titles, and licenses pertaining to the Laird of Kinross. And henceforth, he shall be known as the McMillan. Up the McMillan.
Grabs you, don't it? I get that same funny chill like when they picked Miss America. It's a great show for the hotel.
Excuse me, do you see my wife?
No.
You can let me go now. You don't need a hostage. They can't catch you now. You didn't quit your job. You got fired when Uncle Michael found you digging for the treasure, right?
You're a smart lass. Now be quiet. I have some hard driving to do.
Any idea where he was heading?
Well, sir, when I came to, I looked out the window and I saw a car going down the lock road very fast.
chance. We could cross it a lot faster than Duncan could go around. Come on.
Oh, there aren't any boats. How'd you know it was Duncan?
He lost the piping contest. Why did he lose? Because he was out of breath.
Oh, he couldn't resist the chance to dig while the castle was empty.
Raced back to the games, met his accomplice.
Accomplice?
Jamie.
What?
Jamie. I need it. You're gonna run it for me. The Lochmoran monster.
Oh, come on now. You don't really believe there is such a...
Rope burns on your hands, blue paint on your shoes from the carousel, mud from near the lock. And I heard the music when I saw the monster.
I don't know anything about
I haven't got time to argue with you. You're gonna run the monster now.
The village needs a monster in order to survive.
What about my wife's survival?
Come on. I can cut across the lake a lot faster than they can cut it.
Brother Ben?
You could have killed me.
I can make that keeper sit up and play any lorry. I was only throwing you a scare.
And it was you that shot at Mac when he was on the grouse hunt.
Quiet. All we've done is scare folks so far.
Very faster, Duncan.
There's none from the castle can catch us now.
Oh! Water is like ice.
Give Jamie the signal.
If you fall off of this thing, you'll freeze or drown or both.
Give Jamie the signal.
Yes, sir. We're leaving now, Flo. I've got to be back at the shop Monday morning. So to hell with the bloomin' monster what's too shy to show himself.
It's all a fake, anyhow.
Flo, the lake.
Eh?
Do you see?
Oh, it's a blooming Scot. They'll never believe this in Wormsley Park.
He's gone, Flo.
What's that?
I'll move it.
Ben. 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 Hey, Ben. Ben.
If I told you, you wouldn't believe it. The McMILLAN treasure.
Oh, I'm touched. Yeah, my friends all hope there will be enough here, so they won't be touched for a while. So, thank you, Duncan, for saving me the digging. If my Latin is reliable, these shares assure us of handsome dividends from all those people traveling the Northwest Passage to India. Yeah, through 1819.
There's more in here, Jamie.
Oh, look. It's a necklace. Yeah, modest but lovely. to be worn by the mistress of Castle Kinross.
Hey, you're selling this place to me.
As they say in your country, sir, no way.
Now, just a minute.
Up the McMILLAN.
It's a happy conclusion for you, McMillans. And as soon as we prepared a legal case against these two for the murder of the laird, you'll get your just revenge.
We ne'er killed the old man. Took his treasure, aye. But we're nae murderers.
I suspect they're right, Mr. Ramsey. A murderer would have dealt more harshly with my wife and Charles Enright. There's no real link between the treasure and my uncle's death. I'd like to propose a toast. Michael McMillan was more than a father to me. It was a rare privilege to know him. And I've not been able to prove, as I'd hoped, that he was murdered. But I would like to propose a toast to this man whose noble life cannot be diminished by the events of a single day. To the late laird, whose death, whose suicide, I will not accept, because it's simply unacceptable. To the late laird.
Come on, Bobby, stay down or I'll never get this fly tied. Well, so I just thought that since the case is solved that, Miss McTavish has taken me to a secret place she knows where we can get in some good night fishing.
Just a second. May I? That's it. May I ask you all, Ramsey, Jamie, Houston, join me in the tower room in about 10 minutes? Come on, Bobby. Come on. Thank you for your patience. I am happy to tell you that sometimes the unacceptable is also the untrue. Uncle Michael did not commit suicide. He was murdered. And in front of a witness. The witness, as my wife was the first to sense, was a dog, Bobby. And he's already testified 3 times. First, by barking at you, Duncan. Then at you, Mr. Ramsey. Then at Charles Enright. Or so we thought. Actually, he was barking at a fishhook. I'll show you why. Our murderer took a fishhook and line, which is almost invisible, attached it to a trigger of a preloaded gun before Uncle Michael came into the room, wrapped it around the butt of the rifle, out through the window, threw it up to the parapet above. Then he went up there and waited. Uncle Michael walked to the window, probably when he heard the sound of my voice from the driveway.
Uncle Michael! Uncle Michael!
One yank to pull the trigger. The second yank, much stronger, to pull the gun off its mounting. Bobby got nicked the first time, trying to capture that instrument that killed his master. Good boy.
But this is all pure speculation.
No, the line left marks at the top of the slit. And my wife and I saw the murderer.
We did?
Late that night. He had to wait till dark to make his escape.
Mac, why would he come back the following night?
He didn't. Remember that first night we saw a man running? Then the second night we saw a man running, only faster? Which puzzled me, because a man escaping always runs at his own top speed, which means that there had to be 2 men, one each night.
It was me the second time.
Yeah, you were down in the cellar digging. And the first night it was the murderer, who waited Up on that roof until Uncle Michael could walk to the window.
But Mac, how would he know when to pull the trigger if he's up on the roof?
Yes, of course. He couldn't see anything from there. Well, he could guess at it, I suppose.
Bad luck, Mac. It was a doozy of a theory while it lasted.
He's right. No way to know if the laird was in his sight.
Right. But what if there were two of them? The murderer up on the roof, and someone out there to signal him when to fire.
Where out there? There's no place with a clear view and cover?
Yes, there is. The Crofter's cottage. Mrs. Gray's place.
Oh, but it's too far to fire.
Not too far away to observe. Through mighty powerful binoculars. What was your signal to Houston, Mrs. Gray? Everyone knew that Uncle Michael would never sell this place. But you knew that Jamie would. You had to sell this place to Globe Hotels, didn't you? Living off expenses you'd never earned. Wasn't that it? What were you thinking of, Mrs. Gray, when you stood there and watched the tower, smoked all your cigarettes and waited? Didn't you ever wonder how you could let this con man talk you into killing a laird?
Don't answer him, Annie. It's a trick.
What was your signal, Mrs. Gray? Did you raise an umbrella?
I lowered it. God help me, I lowered it.
Everybody stand right there. I'm really very good with this.
Thank you, Sergeant. You can go fishing now.
Thanks for everything, Mac.
We're really grateful.
You know, it's not going to be the same around here without you. Very, very quiet. The next Healing Games are not for 2 years.
I think the village will get by. I somehow have the feeling that the monster may appear again. Come on, Bobby.
They die hard, monsters.
Of course, Bobby goes with the castle, but if you ever get tired of him, San Francisco can always use another good detective.
We seen him, we did, as plain as radio day.
Yeah.
The Flying Scotty is, according to the new laird hereabouts, gone forth from his castle to...
Down. The authorities will restore power presently.
What is presently?
Somewhere between 2 minutes and a week.
Oh, it sounds like home.
On the eve of the Battle of Kinross, Ian and his chieftains galloped over to the castle in order to hide the McMillan treasure. Having done so, they were returning to the battlefield when suddenly Ian noticed that he had but 4 companions.
Fergus.
Aye, indeed. Returning to the castle, they found Fergus hidden in an alcove within the castle walls. If its walls you love more than honor, raged Ian, then its walls ye shall have. And he and his men began to seal Fergus up into the alcove. As the last heavy stone was emplaced, Fergus rose up and hurled forth his terrible curse. I shall not die. McMillan walls will not outlast McCready vengeance. And when I break free, woe to the McMillan laird, whoever he be then, for his life shall be forfeit. And so shall the lives of all his kinsfolk, even to their wives and servants. Ian and his chieftains were killed by the Sassenach, and the castle was ransacked. And a feud began between the two clans that has lasted for several centuries. Legends die hard in the Healing. Ah, we see. If I might have a wee drop more of the port. Oh, Mrs. McTaggart, would you be so kind as to fetch my coat? As for myself, I neither believe in ghosts nor blood feuds, or I'd never have been attorney to the McMillan laird.
You're a McCready?
Aye. Full-blooded. My grandfather died at 90, And it was his proudest boast that he'd ever spoken to a McMillan. Of course, that's pure Hieland superstition. But still, in my grandfather's honor, and to a spirit free at last, up the Macready. A magnificent dinner, I thank you kindly. Good night, McMillan. I shall be free now, Jamie, to sell the castle.
If he sells.
Oh, he'll sell, lassie. Your fiancé looks like a McMillan, and the law makes him the new laird. But he has not a Scotsman's taste for the hard work.
Desmond, that was quite uncalled for.
He's right, though, you know, Nell. If I were English, I would be known as a wealthy eccentric. But we Scots, we don't have wealthy eccentrics. We just have ne'er-do-wells.
What do you do now, Jamie?
Well, at the moment, Nell and I are on the committee for the Hieland Games. In fact, we are the committee.
Ooh, there's a job for you now. 3 light days of duty every other year. Between times, he sells souvenir programs at Coronation.
Yeah, you do have the light touch there, Desmond. Well, you seem to have things well in hand, and we have business. The games will go on, of course.
Of course.
Grandfather would have wanted it that way.
Jamie, do you think your grandfather would be the sort of man who would kill himself?
Well, he wasn't the sort.
No, he wasn't.
But what about all the evidence?
What about the evidence that he wasn't the sort?
I'd like to think that he didn't. I was a great disappointment to him. But I really loved that old man.
Mac, do you think the shot could have come from there?
It's the Crofter's cottage, too far away.
Direct line of vision.
Couldn't be the lawn. We'd have seen it from the driveway. Couldn't be the gully. It's an impossible angle.
Well, according to Mr. Ramsey, the McCready ghost is our prime suspect.
McCready ghost? Glad Mr. Ramsey isn't staying for dinner. I'd sure hate to hear that dull story again. He is staying for dinner.
Well, he said it was a great story. Of course, he did say it was better on a dark and stormy night.
Maybe we'll get lucky.
Mr. Ramsey's going to tell us some castle ghost stories.
A monster in the lake and a ghost in the castle, some vacation.
In the war against the Sacking, the English, Castle Kinross was the headquarters for 2 clans, the McMillan and the McCready. The laird of the castle was the great Ian McMillan, and 4 of its 5 lieutenants were McMillans. The 5th one being Fergus McCready, referred to by some as Fergus the Infamous. Oh, no need for alarm, only a light.
Mac, look at that tower. There ought to be a princess locked up in there.
It's a watchtower. Uncle Michael's probably up there right now, doing his accounts. Uncle Michael! Uncle Michael!
Uncle Michael! Oh, he's inside. You'll be steward his nephew. He's expecting your rifle.
Is there a key?
There's no key. It's bolted
I
inside.
remember a window.
An arch is slit only 4 inches wide.
And 60 feet up. We'd best break down the door. Excuse me, sir.
you do that?
Uncle Michael.
Why?
I don't understand.
Why?
He asked me to meet him here.
Oh.
I'm a solicitor, his attorney. 3:15, he said.
Why?
Now, why would he make an appointment if he was planning to do it?
Why?
I'll get the doors in. There was a man. I suppose I've been saying that for the last hour. I share your sorrow.
Desmond. We just heard about it.
Mr. McMillan, this is Jimmy.
Mark,
Sorry.
it's been a long time.
Certainly has.
This is my fiancée, Nell Barry. Is it true? Did he kill himself?
He was found alone with a gun in the tower room. The bullet matches the gun, and the powder burns are what they seem. In any case...
I'm not nervous.
I'm glad you told me. Ready for bed?
Anytime. Mac, look. I thought this was your Uncle Michael's blood, but look, there's a nick on Bobby's ear. Mac, do you think there was somebody in the room? Do you think he was trying to defend his master, and when he did, do you think there's a connection?
Not quite. A man with a knife kills my uncle, nicks the dog's ear, then cuts himself into 4-inch strips and throws himself out through an archer's slit that wide. Go back to the ghost in the wall or the monster in the lake. Or better yet, come to bed.
Oh, I couldn't sleep with all this going on.
Try it. What is it?
The lights have gone out again.
It's a storm, Mildred.
Now, listen, there's something in the walls. Listen. Oh, it stopped. But I heard scraping, like somebody clawing, but from inside the
You heard
wall.
a ghost story as a power of suggestion.
You heard a ghost story. I heard scraping.
All right, all right. We'll find the noise or the bar.
I'll settle.
You want to go too?
What do you think?
The bar's in the great hall. I am being quiet. What? It's ice cold.
Mildred.
Now, I'm partial deaf, you know, but not so deaf as to sleep through this sort of larking about. Oh, out the window. What's that?
Somebody running.
Oh, come on in.
Here! Open the drain! Oh, were you expecting this gentleman?
I was just ringing the doorbell.
No, you weren't. at the airport in 15 minutes.
Oh, this is just beautiful country.
It sure is. I spent every summer here when I was a kid.
You know, I've never met a Laird. What do I call your uncle? Laird McMILLAN?
I'm sure he'll want you to call him Uncle Mike.
Listen, we've been driving around this lake for an hour.
Loch.
All right, Loch.
Small but rugged. Half a mile across, 100 around, they say.
What are they looking for?
Oh, the Lochmoran monster.
Monster?
Mm-hmm. He's seen mostly in the gloaming. That means twilight. By people who spend an hour or two in the pub.
That means bar. That's right, Well, I wouldn't mind drinking for a good cause. Wonder if the scotch is any good here.
Ah, here we are.